Rain hammered the streets of Chicago like bullets from heaven. Neon lights flickered across puddles stained with oil, blood, and secrets. Somewhere deep inside the city, a man controlled everything: the gangs, the politicians, the judges, and even the police. But nobody knew his face. Before we begin tonight's story, make sure you subscribe and stay tuned for more thrilling mafia mysteries, criminal empires, and suspense-filled fictional stories that will keep you awake long after midnight. Now dim the lights, because this story will take you into a city where nobody can be trusted. Detective Marcus Hale had spent 15 years hunting criminals in Chicago. He'd seen drug wars, corrupt cops, and brutal murders. But there was one thing he never believed in: ghosts, until he heard the name Vincenzo Moretti. The name surfaced in whispers. Criminals trembled when they said it. Cops avoided discussing it. Informants vanished hours after mentioning him. Officially, Vincenzo Moretti didn't exist. No birth records, no photographs, no fingerprints. Yet every major crime in the city somehow connected back to him. One cold October night, Marcus received a call at 2:13 a.m. "Warehouse 19, the dispatcher said nervously. "Multiple bodies." Marcus arrived with flashing sirens bouncing off wet brick buildings. Yellow tape surrounded the warehouse. Officers stood pale-faced outside. Inside was carnage. 7 men lay dead in a circle. Each had a bullet hole directly between the eyes. Professional execution. On the wall behind them, written in blood, were 3 words: "The city obeys." Marcus crouched beside one corpse. "No shell casings," he muttered. Captain Reynolds stepped beside him, smoking nervously. "Cartel hit?" Marcus asked. Reynolds shook his head. "No cartel works this clean." Marcus noticed something strange. Every dead man was a known gang leader. Rivals. Men who hated each other. Yet somehow they'd all been brought to the same warehouse. Who could unite enemies like this? Marcus asked. Reynolds looked away before answering. "There's talk about Moretti." The room fell silent. Even the officers stopped moving. Marcus stood slowly. "You actually believe that myth?" Nobody answered. 3 days later, Marcus visited an informant named Benny Russo. Benny operated a tiny cigar shop hidden beneath an old train bridge. The shop smelled like tobacco and fear. Benny locked the door behind Marcus immediately. "You shouldn't be here," Benny whispered. "You know something." Benny's hands trembled while lighting a cigar. "Those gang leaders?" he said softly. "They weren't murdered because they were rivals." "Then why?" "They refused to pay tribute." Marcus frowned. "Tribute to who?" Benny looked toward the ceiling as if someone might be listening. "To the man who owns the city." Marcus leaned closer. "Moretti." Benny swallowed hard. "Listen carefully, detective. Moretti doesn't run from the police." He paused. "The police run for him." Marcus laughed slightly. "That's impossible." Benny's eyes widened. "You think judges get promoted randomly? You think investigations disappear by accident? Half the department belongs to him." Marcus felt a chill crawl up his spine. "Who exactly is this guy?" "No one knows," Benny whispered. "Some say he was born in Sicily. Others say he's an ex-CIA operative. But one thing's true." Benny leaned close enough for Marcus to smell the whiskey on his breath. "If Moretti wants you dead, you're already dead." Suddenly, bang! The front window exploded inward. Gunfire ripped through the shop. Marcus dove behind a counter while Benny screamed. Masked men stormed inside with silenced rifles. Marcus fired twice, hitting one attacker in the shoulder. Another gunman grabbed Benny and shot him in the chest before fleeing. Marcus rushed to Benny's side. Blood poured onto the floor. "Who sent them?" Marcus shouted. Benny coughed violently. Then, with his dying breath, he whispered, "The commissioner." Marcus froze. Police Commissioner Harold Graves was the most powerful law enforcement figure in Chicago. And Benny had just accused him of working for Moretti. The next morning, Marcus stormed into headquarters. Commissioner Graves stood at the center of the room giving a press conference about the warehouse killings. His silver suit looked flawless. calm, untouchable. And the department remains fully committed to eliminating organized crime from this city, Graves announced. Marcus watched him carefully. The commissioner noticed Marcus staring and smiled. A cold smile. After the conference, Graves approached him privately. You look tired, detective. Marcus crossed his arms. Benny Russo is dead. Tragic. He mentioned your name before he died. For the first time, Graves' smile faded slightly. Careful where you place your suspicions, he said quietly. Marcus stepped closer. Are you connected to Moretti? The hallway became silent. Officers nearby suddenly stopped talking. Graves adjusted his tie calmly. Go home, Marcus. That's not an answer. It's a warning. Marcus stared into the commissioner's eyes and realized something terrifying. There was no fear there, only confidence, like a man protected by something much larger than the law. That night Marcus returned home to his apartment. The door was open. His hand immediately moved to his pistol. Inside, every light was off. Then a voice emerged from the darkness. You ask dangerous questions, detective. Marcus spun around. A man sat calmly in his living room chair. Black suit, leather gloves, silver watch, his face hidden beneath shadows. Marcus aimed his gun instantly. Who are you? The man smiled faintly. Someone trying to keep you alive. Name. You may call me Luca. Marcus kept the gun raised. Who sent you? Mr. Moretti. Marcus's heart pounded. Finally. Connection. Tell me where he is. Luca chuckled softly. You misunderstand. Mr. Moretti already knows where you are. Marcus noticed something disturbing. Luca had entered his apartment without triggering alarms, without breaking locks. Professional. Why are you here? Marcus demanded. Luca stood slowly. To offer you a choice. Marcus tightened his grip on the pistol. What choice? Continue investigating, and your family dies. Marcus froze. Luca slid a photograph across the table. Marcus picked it up. It showed his younger sister Emily leaving work earlier that evening. Another photo showed his nephew walking home from school. Marcus's blood ran cold. If you touch them, Luca interrupted calmly. Mr. Moretti protects the city. Crime stays organized. Politicians stay controlled. Chaos stays contained. That's insanity. No, Luca replied softly. It's power. Marcus aimed directly at his head. Tell me where Moretti is. Luca stepped forward fearlessly until the gun touched his forehead. You still think this is about one man? Marcus's finger hovered near the trigger. Then Luca whispered, Moretti is not above the police department, detective. He smiled darkly. He is the police department. Before Marcus could react, the apartment lights suddenly turned on. SWAT officers flooded the room. Drop your weapon. Marcus turned in shock. Commissioner Graves stood behind them. Luca was gone. Vanished. How? Graves pointed at Marcus. Detective Marcus Hale, you are under arrest for conspiracy, obstruction of justice, and the murder of Benny Russo. Marcus stared in disbelief. This is a setup. Officers slammed him against the wall. As they dragged him away, Graves leaned close and whispered, You should have stopped digging. Marcus spent 3 days locked in an underground holding cell. No lawyer, no phone call, no outside contact. Every officer guarding him looked terrified, as if they knew something he didn't. On the 4th night, the cell door creaked open. An elderly janitor entered silently. Marcus frowned. Who are you? The janitor locked the door behind him. Then he removed his glasses. Marcus's breath caught instantly. He recognized the face from somewhere. Newspapers, political galas, old city archives, Mayor Anthony Whitmore. But the mayor was supposed to be in Washington. What is this? Marcus whispered. The mayor sat calmly across from him. You've gotten closer than anyone before. Marcus stared. You know Moretti. The mayor smiled sadly. I've worked for him for 22 years. Marcus felt sick. You're telling me the entire city government is corrupted? Not corrupted, Whitmore replied quietly. Controlled. Marcus shook his head. Why? The mayor leaned back. Because before Moretti came, Chicago was burning. Gang wars every week. Judges assassinated. Children dying in crossfire. And this is better? Whitmore's expression darkened. Moretti brought order. By murdering people? By controlling people. Marcus realized the horrifying truth. This wasn't just a criminal empire. It was a parallel government. One operating behind the law itself. Who is he? Marcus demanded again. The mayor hesitated, then slowly answered, You've met him already. Marcus frowned. What? Whitmore stood. When you finally realize who Moretti truly is. He paused at the cell door. You'll wish you never did. The lights suddenly shut off. Darkness consumed the room. Then Marcus heard footsteps approaching behind him. Slow, measured. A familiar voice echoed through the darkness. Detective Hale. Marcus turned slowly. His eyes widened in horror. And then, the story ends, for now. But the real question is, who was standing in that darkness? And what terrible truth had Marcus finally discovered? Subscribe and stay tuned for the next suspense-filled Mafia story.